increased.
Alright, level 7 Vulture Claw Kick for Lash Tail Kick. That's nice. That's new. Well, what does that do? Let's look. Release a torrent of fire that burns nearby enemies for 220% weapon damage as fire and causes knockback. Wow. I have to see that in action. So it's basically increasing the damage of Lashing Tail Kick to 220. Basically, that's about 10% all in all, but 20% weapon damage is not a small margin. Wow, and it retains knockback as well. We're gonna have to try it. That's all I can say about that. We have to try it. So this is reinforcing me wanting to go and play the other classes, because there's no telling what other runes there. Well, there is telling. I mean, there's other playthroughs out there by now, but I'm not going to spoil it for myself just yet. Interesting. Does that even hit things behind me? It does. That is a nice kick, and I like that because I can use that in a big group. Just get right in the middle of them and hit that. I could even take a blinding flash off and put the Tempest Rush in there so that I can get into the middle to use it. There's a combo. Okay, back off, guys. Obviously that wouldn't be a combo I could use using the directed mode that they're using here, because all I have is blinding flash. But that is not a bad idea. I might be shooting myself in the foot on that one, because blinding flash has been really useful for preventing damage. For now, I'll play around with it. And when you think about it, with the Bounding Light, this is kind of an AoE based build. I get that third strike that hits other monsters. I've got Tempest Rush that lets me get into the group, and then I can just knock them all back. I love how far that can jump. It doesn't seem very consistent sometimes, but when it jumps, it's hit quite a few of these monsters. It's hitting some monsters I didn't think it would. And that time it just jumped to destructible objects. All the way over there. One thing about trying the different order of skills is it kind of forces me to think a little more outside the box as to what skills would I want to use together, what skills can I test out, and I think that's all part of it too. You know, when you unlock skills, passives, and things like that at different orders, and when it's kind of guided to you that way, it can sometimes provoke you to think, you know, well, wait a minute, do I want to use that ability in this way? Can I use it with the skills I already have? Or are there skills that I learned earlier that I'm not using that I can combine it with? Just look how big this map is. Alright. I want to find the den. I really want to find the den. And I'm finding Tempest Rush to be very useful both offensively and defensively in these situations. I can get into the group, use my big hit, or I can escape. Which I did. I escaped it to the edge of a group and then just relied on Bounding Light to attack. Okay. One thing I got here was Breath of Heaven. And what you might notice here, when I click on this, since I have Tempest Rush slotted to it, notice it opens to the secondary slot, and you'll notice that the name up here changed to secondary because of the ability I had slotted on it. That is pretty much why, and I'm assuming that's why I don't see new flashing here, since I'm not using a category of that type of defensive. Breath of Heaven, I've already mentioned the changes to that. I don't plan on using it right now. If I start taking a lot of damage, I will consider it as a defensive ability. But Breath of Heaven has been nerfed. The healing of it is basically 50% as effective as it used to be. It still has the last changes to it, which is the lower spirit cost, but 15-second cooldown. So nothing big there. Now you might think to yourself, why do they go to all these abilities and buff them and just to bring them back down? You know, there were a couple abilities, even on the Barbarian, where I said, well, it got buffed again, and then they nerfed it. Well, part of that is really the iterative process. The numbers probably changed far more times than we ever saw. It's just that when they pull the build data, it might be at a specific number for testing purposes. You know, the only way to know if something is going to work with high or low values is to change it. And sometimes you have to change it a lot before you can see what the difference is going to be. It's a pretty common programming trick, really. You go through and you tweak values. You see what works, what doesn't. You'll never know until you try it in some cases. So, and I've seen people use that as you know, when they're angry at Blizzard and they want to attack them on something, and people say, well, you changed it for World of Warcraft specifically. You know, I've seen it in forums. Well, you buffed it, then you nerfed it, then you did this. So, you know, it's like a yo-yo. Why do we have to deal with this? Well, you know, they make a change, and they think it's the right change, and then what can happen is people can, you think about it, millions of people. When you get millions of people on your code and looking at the way things are done, those millions of people are going to come up with ideas that all of Blizzard couldn't think of. There's always unique ideas and processes out there, and everybody's going to do something slightly different. And just because they figure that something is going to work properly one way doesn't mean that it's going to work properly everywhere. And they might find that someone found a way to make this ability because they buffed it. Well, maybe now it's too good, only they didn't know about it because it wasn't used in combination with certain skills, abilities, or buffs. You know, not only that, but maybe they know they wanted to change it. Maybe they know they want to nerf an ability. And they're like, okay, we're going to nerf this ability. This amount seems right. It feels good to us. And then when they finally get the parsing data of millions of players with that ability, they can say, oh, well, no, it looks like it was too much. Because internal testing only does so much. You know, you get the best of the best in World of Warcraft and unleash them with abilities. They can eke out every little bit of damage on an ability. And it really helps them gear it. To kind of find out if it's right or not. So it's not that they don't know what they're doing, it's just that sometimes you need real-world data to find an issue. And that's been my talk on programming. Iterative processes. Infamous gate. He went flying, didn't he? All the way back there. I wonder if they increased the range that Bounding Light can jump. No one's really been able to pull that data because I don't think it's listed anywhere. A lot of the data, for example, like Diablo fans finds, it's usually they can data mine it from, you know, files that contain the tooltip text. In some cases, they might actually be able to pull the raw numbers from some of the files. This is something that may not have a raw number listed somewhere, and it may have gone up. It's hard to tell. It feels like it's jumping a lot further than it used to. There you go. Slow them down, push them away so they can't get back to me that quickly. Tempest Strike has its uses, its utility. Tempest Strike? Is that what I said? Tempest Rush. Rush. Oh, hello. Looks like I'm not the only one with knockback.
Grave robbers have defied return.
Hey there, little buddy.
I must search one of the others.
Adventuring leather gloves of thorns. Plus 4 experience on that. It's a little more than what I've already got. Oh. That actually can replace that pair too, since they're both level 3. One more experience helps. What have I got here? Strength, vital, dex, vital. Yeah, so you're getting a lot more of these primary attributes here on these items. That dexterity. So tempting to start putting on this dex gear to get my damage up. Yeah, if they get close to me, I can use this, what's it called? Vulture claw kick. They come up behind me, I just launch into that, and they go away.
I will not let them desecrate me. Now, dead to rest.
And an adventuring saber, 9.8 over the 7.5 I have, and offers 1 additional experience. Very good. As a matter of fact, I can 13.26, 13.5. It's the same experience as the shield. Let's do it. Let's do a wield. I'm attacking a little bit faster now. That feels good. And I found the resplendent chest. Plus 2 experience. I already have better. So I think it's worth it. I kind of think that chest might be spawning a little bit too early, because I could just take that chest and then and leave without exploring further. Ooh, horrify, huh? Nightmarish. But it is worth exploring these tombs here just for that. You know, I've got the chest here, I've got the event, either the Matriarch's Bones or the Jar of Souls, and I've got, of course, the right one for the crown. Another one? Another rare. Must be... Digger Odell must be shoveling off. Okay. The punishment. What did he give me? Converts to life. Strength shield. Better armor on that one. It's the same level requirement. No level requirement. Okay, so what I did learn here, though, which is nice, is I've got Deadly Reach Piercing Trident now. The area of effect on the second and third strike is increased. As you can see, it's slightly rewarded there from patch 13. I'll go ahead and use that because that is one of my favorites. I really like Trident, just something about the way it looks and the way it feels. Techniques now, we're going to go ahead and finally get Dashing Strike. And here's Sweeping Wind, which was our other spirit generator. It's now a spirit spender at 75 spirit. My goodness, that is expensive. Surrounds yourself in a vortex that continuously deals 15% weapon damage to all enemies in 10 yards. The vortex lasts for 5 seconds and is refreshed each time you strike an enemy with a melee attack. Landing a critical hit increases the vortex effect up to 2 times for a total of 45% weapon damage to nearby enemies. That's impressive. I can see why it's so expensive, because as long as you're attacking, you're constantly refreshing it. So it's expensive at first, but it keeps going. And that's to think that that was a change from a generator, you know, a 3-hit strike where you would, I believe Sweeping Wind would put down kind of a little AoE around you or below you, and then you could continue attacking without it. That's interesting change. And here's the other spender or generator that's now been turned into a spender, and that's at level 13. So I'll go over that one when I actually get it. So very interesting changes here. So I've got Piercing Trident. And we've got Dashing Strike, finally. 100% weapon damage. Just going to double check real quick to see if I got any changes. I did get some changes to Dashing Strike according to these notes that were undocumented from the patch notes. Spirit cost has been increased, so one of my favorite reasons I really like this skill was it was very cheap and easy to just constantly go from enemy to enemy and just kind of use it to teleport around to strike different packs. And it was 15 spirit then, it's 25 now, so that's going to kind of deter that a bit. However, one benefit here is that the damage went from 80% weapon damage to 100. So even though it has a root on it, it does a bit more damage. So I'll go ahead and I'll hit accept on that. And since I just saw it, I'll go ahead and go over this real quick since we're talking about the passives here. Apparently the spirit cost of all of the mantras has been doubled. They used to be 25, so they were somewhat spammable. I was using that in the boss fights in the last patch. So now you can't use them as much. This being 25, it's still going to be somewhat spammable because, as I said, I was able to spam those mantras fairly often. So that means I should still be able to use Dashing Strike quickly and often, but because it is double of what it used to be, it'll just be that I can't just use it on a whim. You know, I can't just say, ooh, let's just go ahead and do it now, because what I might end up doing is shafting myself for spirit. Oh, Frenzy Shrine. How I love you. I can't just be going around willy-nilly just using my Dashing Strike as I see fit. I gotta think about it. Use strategery. That's why I like fast attack speeds on the monk. You can just get those constant stream of level 3 attacks going out there. I honestly, as I've said before, I can see myself when I make a monk being a dual-wielding monk. More damage per strike with a two-hander is nice, but just the blazing speed, and of course this is with a Frenzy Shrine, so it's kind of unfair to judge it to, but the speed at which I can put out attacks with dual-wielding on a monk feels right. It really does.
The clown is not here. It must be in one of the other crypts.
See, back when this costs only 15, 2 strikes from this would be almost enough to replenish it. I get to kill Mangle Maul with an experience shrine. Air combo.
Enough spirit.
That was a perfect spot for dashing strike, really. the caster's trying to get out of the group and get away from me, I was able to just track him down.
No, I will not allow you to bring that monster Leoric back to this world.
Knock him back, chase him with Dashing Strike. Yeah, there's 1,001 uses for abilities like Dashing Strike. And Tempest Rush. As I said before, the monk has a lot of nice control abilities for taking the flow of combat and making it work the way he wants to. Getting in, getting out, knockbacks. How do you want to face that group of monsters? You are very much in charge of that. You want to get behind them and attack them from a distance. You want to get in the middle of them and hit them with a nice big AoE. You have those options. Alright, well, at this point, I'm going to have to go ahead and make this the end of this one. So I will be recording more. I'm going to do just like I do with all the other classes. I'll go through with this class all the way to the Skeleton King, and then I'll make another video featuring all the features afterwards, and then I'll give my final thoughts of the character, especially in relation to patch 13. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and sign it off here. I'll just go ahead and very quickly move on to the next quests. And I'll be getting rid of all these items so you don't have to see that, so not a big deal.
I need something.
Let's just go ahead and get this done. Okay. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Kagekaze. This is the monk. Honestly, I'm loving so far. I'm just going to tell you from a level 9 standpoint, the skills and abilities they've given me, it feels like a whole new class almost with the different abilities I have. I'm already using more spirit spenders than I used before. I honestly did almost nothing but Deadly Reach in the last playthrough, so I'm honestly liking this already. So, alright, thanks for watching, guys. Thumb up if you like. Leave comments, suggestions, dirty limericks, whatever in the comment section. I'll see you on the next playthrough.